with more music. This is Classic FM.
Hello again, and I'm delighted today to welcome to Classic FM Alison Balsom on a beautiful sunny day to talk about your new album, Sound the Trumpet, which focuses on the music of Handel and Purcell. I'm going to challenge you on something straight away. You've often described Purcell as your hero. When making this album, did that perception change at all?
No, it didn't change at all, really, because I knew that the music itself was just masterful. In fact, if anything, it made me love Purcell even more. But also Handel, the disc is pretty balanced, you know, half and half between Purcell and Handel, and both of them, they're quite different if you really delve into it, but both of them I would say I love even more now from you know, spending many months researching the music and then obviously finally performing and recording them.
You mentioned research there, but the disc is almost a little bit about social history as well. What did you learn about that whilst researching?
Well, from my point of view, you know, with the trumpet, it wasn't an instrument that could play, you know, the Baroque trumpet cannot play all the notes of the scale. And at the time it was very much, you know, used for ceremonial purposes and, you know, was heroic and brilliant. And yet, because it didn't have any valves, it was only able to play certain notes of the scale. And yet Purcell and Handel were writing all this music that reflected, you know, what was happening in London at the time, you know, and touched on so many emotions, so many colours and thoughts and ideas. And I wanted to just be able to find a way to show that in the music that I can play, and obviously I'm a trumpet player, so I needed to find a way to make it work. And I spent, along with Trevor Pinnock, many months kind of just looking at lots of music, because both of them have written so much. And it was just finding something that we could transcribe and adapt for the trumpet, but that didn't, not just for the sake of it, it had to have a kind of musical point. And what we ended up with is something I'm very proud of, but it was a very long, painstaking process.
And was it a conscious decision to do this album now in an amazing year of celebration, in fact amazing few years of celebration, with William and Kate's wedding, moving on to the Jubilee and the Olympics? Or did it just happen that every strand that you've been working on just came together at the right time?
No, it's complete coincidence. The fact that it's come out now, and you know, I would say that our country's on the up. I think there's a really great sense of jubilation and joy in Britain at the moment, and this has come exactly the right time, but it was a project that's been going in my head, has been going on for many years, and the fact it comes out now is just wonderful timing. For me, it's the album I've always wanted to make for the last decade, and now I've finally done it. I'm very happy.
It's funny because we were discussing this is a week of celebration too for Classic FM, so it's wonderful to talk to you about such celebratory music when we're marking our 20th birthday. If there was a piece on the album that you could perhaps say for us to play on our birthday, what would it be? What would be most appropriate for Classic? Well, I suppose, I mean, my first instinct was to say something very upbeat and very, you know, flamboyant, but actually, I think what would be really nice is Eternal Source of Light Divine, because it's actually originally for the trumpet and the countertenor, and I'm so proud of this particular piece on the disc, and it really has, and the words are so stunning, and I think it's a magical piece that would be a lovely celebration of this time. I remember very clearly when Classic FM started, because it was actually my first week studying at the Junior Guildhall when I was 13. And I was driving to London in the car to go to Junior Guildhall for the first time. I was very excited about my new musical life on a Saturday. And then, you know, I got to London and I could hear on the radio this classical music, and I thought, wow, it's amazing. You know, surrounded by classical music wherever I go. This is what I want in my life. And how much has it assisted you as an artist, would you say?
I would say it's been really important to me, because I've listened to Classic FM since it started, and even this morning I had Classic FM on, because you know it's a wonderful soundtrack to one's life, and I think I commend the radio station heartily for the fact that I quite often hear not only obviously great pieces of music, but really wonderful recordings of those pieces with really great artists, and I think that's incredibly commendable, because of course there's thousands of things that could be played, and I really take my hat off to the presenters choosing really stylish recordings, and I think that's important, because of course this music is great, but what makes it magical
is it being interpreted and communicated really well to the audience.
Finally, Alison, you've alluded many times during this interview to the fact that Sound the Trumpet is the album that you've always wanted to make. It begs the question, what's next?
Well, it's a good question, because I do feel I want to kind of revel in, you know, the fact I've made this album. I was even sad on the last couple of days of the recording, thinking I can't believe this is nearly over. I was feeling quite melancholy. And now I am actually thinking of something in a very, very different direction. And I'm not sure I'm allowed to say yet.
We'll leave it at that, and we'll look forward to welcoming you back again when you are able to talk about
Perfect.
it. Sound the Trumpet's out in October.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you
15th.
very much. Thank you for coming in to speak to us, Alison.
Pleasure.